Today we are making a video on Lion Linux 2.4. Here is the boot menu of Lion Linux 2.4 and it's MX Linux, as you can see here. And there are some options at the bottom, as you can see. F1 for help, F2 for language. I'm going to choose my language as United States, which is default. You can choose any language here. For F3, it's going to show the time zone. As you can see, you can choose your desired time zone. I'm going to choose Los Angeles for the time zone. And F4 for the options. Here are some options. F5 for persist, and this is F6. F5 for persist, F6 for failsafe, and F7 for console. You can choose anything you want. So let's boot it in a live mode by clicking on Lion Linux 2.4 x64. I am running it on a virtual machine, which is a VMware with 80 GB of hard disk, 4 GB of RAM, and processors are 2. So usually the Linux distro should take a maximum of a minute to show up the desktop layout or to boot it in a desktop layout. Or minimum it should be like 30 to 40 seconds. That's the best setting. It's timings of the good Linux distro, or the stable one, or the stable ISO Linux distro, or the stable Linux distro will be booting in like 30 to 40 seconds maximum. Some Linux distros should take like a maximum of a minute or 2 minutes. For example, Debian Linux. So here is our username password. I choose the English language, but it's still in a different language. No problem. Let's type in the password. The password is NIOL with small letters, not the capital letters. And we should be having our desktop layout, as you can see here. I think the desktop environment should be Xfce. And I already made a video on the Lion Linux before, which is a month ago. And here is the complete desktop. Let's first change the display settings by going to configurable. I don't know the language properly. This is the backgrounds. So let's try to open the applications. Here are the applications. Let's go to the system, I guess. This is the display setting, I guess. There is no display settings here. So I don't know, configure the whatever it is. So the system should be somewhere here, I guess. Let's try to configuration, maybe here it should be. I don't know where is the display setting. This is Xfce, I guess, and this should be the yes, it's display settings. Mine is 1920 to 1080, but there is not the available resolution here. Let's go with a 1316 to 768, which is a 16:9 ratio. I want a 16:9 ratio. Click on OK. Here is the display. As you can see, first let's open the system monitor and see. Before that, let's check the Xfce version. Lion Linux, Debian new Linux 11 based on, and Xfce version is a 4.18, GTK is a 3.24.24, kernel is a 5.10, and here is the CPU if you want. So let's open the system monitor before running anything, because we need to know how much resources are consumed before opening any apps. And I am going to show you the system monitor again at the end of the video, and you will be having an idea of how much resources are consumed before and after. If you want, you can compare it by side in the YouTube. If you don't want, you can just remember here and check that at the end. You will be having an complete resources using RAM. Right now it's almost 924 MB, almost 925. As you can see here, 930 MB rough of 4 GB of RAM. I have mentioned that I'm using a virtualization, which is a VMware, and CPU is 30 to 40%, and processors running right now are 292. Let's scroll it down, and here are the processors. Remember these things, remember the numbers. So as you can see, after all the settings. I'm going to open, after opening all the apps, I'm going to show it again at the end of the video, and you will be having an idea of how much resources are consumed. So let's close this thing and open the terminal, because we need to know some info of the distro. And the terminal, the Xfce, I think this is a Portugal language, I guess. This is a terminal version which is a 1.0.2. Let's type in the important command or the full distro info getting command, which is a inxi-sv8. This is the command to get full distro info. Click on enter. It's going to give all the distro info. I think you are seeing properly here. If not, let's try to change the preference. Let's go to preference and change black and white. Can you change it here? This is the good color. So let's close it. Host is a Lion Linux and the kernel is a 5.10, which is old version. 64-bit ISO file or architecture. Compiler GCC 10.2.1. XFWM 4.18. VT7 Lite DM 1.26.0. And the GTK version is 3.24.24. Xfce version is 4.18.0. The latest version is Xfce 4.18.4. And the distro is Lion Linux 2.4. Layla Marzo 4 2023. Base is Debian New Linux 11 Bullseye. And I'm running on a VMware, so it's going to say as a VMware. So RAM is almost 4 GB of RAM, but it's consuming like a 954 MB, which is 25% almost. Some info, if you want to read it, you can read it. Driver VMWGFX 2.18.0. Let's scroll down and let's find out some info again. INXI version is 3.3.06. Bash version is 5.1.4. Processors running right now are 295. Uptime is 4 minutes. I think we covered everything. I guess we should be missing like a Mesa. This should be here, like a Mesa version is 20.3.5 and LLVM version is 4.1, and it's a X11 display. Xorg version is 1.20.11, and here are some info. If you want, you can go through that. If you want to see all this in a short form, just type in these commands like inxi, and another one is inxi-small b. Click on enter, which will be in a short form. If you want inxi-capital G, it's also in a short form. Let's type in cat/etc/issue. Hit enter. Welcome to MX Linux powered by Debian. Let's type in neofetch if it's available. Here is our neofetch. OS is a MX Linux. Host is a virtual machine. Kernel is a 5.10. This is all the same info which we seen before or the read before upside there. So let's type in htop, and here is the htop. The memory is almost 975 MB of 4 GB of RAM, and CPUs also are good, which is almost under 20%. So let's close the terminal, and the installation process will be same as the MX Linux. So let's go to all the desktop features here. Volume, internet connection, packages. Our version is this thing. As you can see, it's pretty hard to read this language. And this is here is the app menu. I thought it would be like a left side as usual, but they put it on a right side. It's pretty confusing, and the app icon also is or the app menu icon is also weird. You can't see there properly. It's a small Lion Linux logo, but you can't see properly in this display setting, because there is no 1920 into 1080p. These are all the, I think these are all the applications which comes pre-installed. I'm going to scroll it down slowly so you can see all these things. So these are all the pre-installed apps which comes directly from the Lion Linux distro. Almost a good amount of apps, everything like a video editing, all these things. About Lion Linux, the password should be demo root, but the password was NIOL, which is a small letters. Lion Linux 2.4 Layla. If you want, I'm going to, and here is these things. Let's try to open few apps, like only important apps instead of every app. What are the important apps? Clementine. Some people need the apps. Let's open also LibreOffice, because some people need to know the version. Clementine version is a 1.4 RC2 release candidate 2. Let's exit the thing. Here is the LibreOffice. The version should be same for every LibreOffice app, which is a calculator, Impress, all these things. Version will be same because its main version is a 7.0.4.2. So let's close this thing also. The panel is here, so you can't properly close the apps. As you can, if you maximize this thing, as you can see here, you can't see the close button or a minimize button, anything like that. That's pretty bad or weird if you ask me. So let's try to change the desktop background. Here are the desktop backgrounds available from the Lion Linux or from the MX Linux, you can call it. Let's choose this one. The resolution is bad, so that's the reason it's going to ruin the display wallpaper also. So let me take you to their website by launching the Firefox browser. They don't have their official website, they are in the source forge. So I'm going to type in the source forge. This is MX Linux website. So let's type in Lion Linux in the search bar. You can directly type it like that, and you should be having a SourceForge website. I think they actually had their website. Here is my old video of a Lion Linux. Let's see, this is the official website, I guess. Before it was never their website, but I don't know when they made it. So they have their website here. If you want, you can go through all the info. If you want to read it, you can read it. And I downloaded it from the SourceForge. Download low for lowest machine. Can't click on downloads. I don't know why the downloads are not working. No problem. Let's go to SourceForge and download that. Type in SourceForge after the Lion Linux and hit enter. So here is the SourceForge website of the Lion Linux. Because the official website didn't work, the downloads. Here is the files. If you want, you can read it. And the version which we are using is a Layla 2.4, and the God version 1.0 should be available in a few days or hours. I don't know properly because I don't have any idea or the info about this Lion Linux distro. This is the latest version. LXD is the latest version. I downloaded Layla Xfce version. So here are the versions 2.4, which is a 34-bit, 64-bit and 32-bit, I guess. There are not much downloads here. So if you want to download, you can download it from here. So let's close this thing and open few more apps and end the video. On the system side, we don't need anything to open here, I guess. This is a Synaptic Package Manager. The password should be in NIOL, but it's let's type in demo or demo Linux. DEMO. The password is wrong. Let's type in NIOL. The password works as a NIOL. If you put the MX Linux password, it doesn't work, which is DEMO. You need to type NIOL for the password, all small letters. So the version of the Synaptic Package Manager is 0.90.2. I'm going to scroll it down very fast. If you want to watch this, you can change the settings in the YouTube, which is a playback speed to 0.25. You will be seeing the in a slow mode or a slow motion. So the installed version will be highlighted like a green, and the version will be available here. So let's close this thing. I don't want to make it a lengthy video because no one watches the lengthy videos. Only few people, so I'm not going to say everyone. A few people only watch the slow video. I'm going to write down the password so you could remember it. The password is NIOL. This is the password for the live boot. So let's check the version also. Featherpad is a 1.3.5. Let's close this thing. I don't want to save. I think we opened almost every app. I didn't open every app, but the only important apps. Instead of opening, let's open Thunderbird also, because some people want the mail info of the app. The version is a 78.13.0. The latest version is like a 102. It's pretty much old if you ask. So there are a lot of old versions also here. So what else we left still here? We opened the Firefox browser version also. We checked that. GTherm not needed. Paint not needed. LibreOffice opened. Some MX tools, which is quite common in every MX Linux distro, so no need to open the apps. A torrent client, that's it. There's no much apps there. So let's try to open the system manager right now and see. Let's check the G-Smart control. Let's see what it is. Let's type in the password, which is NIOL again. So let's open the system monitor, which is a Gestor de Terres. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a Portugal language. The RAM is almost 1.4 GB. It almost consumed like a 300 MB. So it's a Xfce version. You already know how much Xfce desktop environment consumes. So it's still good because people who are using a 2 GB of RAM, it's going to still work because you still have a 400-500 MB left. 400 MB should be good. If it's 2 GB of RAM, it should be like a 1.8 GB. So we opened some of the apps. Maybe this Linux distro should work on a 2 GB of RAM on a tight consuming resources. Maybe it should be of a bit of lag, if you ask me, in my opinion. I don't know if it works. That should be good. And the CPUs also are going crazy. As you can see, there is a high peak here, which is almost a 50%, I guess. But there is also a low peak here. The maximum is like a 40 to 50%. You the one should be deciding to use it or not. It's clearly up to you. There are a lot of lightweight Linux distro, and there are also LXDE or LXQT desktop environment available in this Lion Linux. If you want, you can try it out. So again, that's it for the video. So I'm going to open the browser and show you my channel. This part is only for the viewers who want to watch my content without subscribing. People who already subscribed, no need to watch this step. You can skip it. You need to type in youtube.com/ or you can call it as a /9to5linux. If you are using a web browser in any devices like a TV, mobile or a tab. If you are using a browser or a web browser, you can call it. You need to type in full URL like this, youtube.com/ or /9to5linux. If you are using a YouTube app, you need to just type in 9to5linux in TV, mobile or a tab like that, any devices. Just click on enter. It's going to open my channel. I'm using a VPN, so it should take a few more seconds more. So here is my channel. I will be posting 2 videos daily without missing any day. So if you want to watch the content without missing any day, like I'll be posting 2 videos daily without missing. So these are the timings you need to visit at this timing. The video should be available before the timings because I will be uploading it in a premiere mode, or a premiere you can call that. And this is the community page. I will be giving info of the latest news of the Linux distros. All the Linux news here will be available, like repositories, packages, all these things. Not repositories, packages. So here is the playlist. If you are here only for the Linux playlist or Linux video, you just need to go to the Linux. Under Linux you will be seeing a Linux view full playlist, and we should be having our playlist here. I made around like 1556 videos on various Linux distros or different types of Linux distros. You didn't even heard of that Linux distro, I made that videos too. So I cover like a 70 to 80% of the Linux distros, complete different names, different sizes, lightweight, heavyweight, every type of Linux distros I made it here. So if you want play all or shuffle, it's clearly up to you. If you want to search it like a specific Linux distro or a specific search term, for example MX Linux, click on or type in the MX Linux and hit enter. The latest content should be available right in front of you. As you can see, it's alpha version, which is 23. No one has made a content already. I made it already. You don't need to wait for some other channels. I make latest content, whether it's a development version, beta version, alpha version. As soon as the ASO file is released, I'll make a content on it. So you don't need to go to other channels. If you want to go to other channels and look for content, I have no problem with it. It's up to you to decide. I'm not going to force you to stay here. It's your opinion. So again, that's it for the video. If you want to subscribe, you can subscribe. If you don't want, it's clearly up to you. I'm not going to force you. I respect your opinion. So let's close this thing and end the video. Again, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the thumbs up button. It helps make a good content for you. Other than that, I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Peace out.